Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, is the screen visible, ma'am?
Yeah, it's the letters are very small. Okay, but I can enlarge them. Fine, start.
Wait, ma'am, I will. No, ma'am.
It's quite big. Okay, like you do in the ordinary way, like I can see. You do. It's very big.
It's visible now, ma'am. Yeah.
The fonts are very big, but can reduce the size a little bit. Yeah, this is fine. Yes.
Then, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I will start. Ma'am, 58-year-old patient named Mr. Annadurai, who is a construction worker residing at Degmore, came to the OPD with the chief complaints of abdominal distension for the past 3 months, swelling of the lower limbs for the past 2 months, yellowish discoloration of eyes for the 7 days, and vomiting of blood for the past 2 days. History of presenting
Yes.
illness. The patient was apparently normal 3 months back, after which he developed abdominal distension, duration of 3 months, insidious in onset, gradually progressive, diffuse in nature, not associated with abdominal pain, and not associated with dyspnea. Swelling of the lower limbs, duration of 2 months, insidious in onset, initially involving only the feet, later progressed to the knees, present throughout the day, and reduces on lying down or when the legs are raised. It's not associated with scrotal swelling, no history of puffiness of face or reduced urine output, no history of chest pain or palpitations. Next, yellowish discoloration of the eyes, duration for the past 7 days, no history of itching or high colored urine or pale stools. And hematemesis, duration for the past 2 days, sudden onset, 4 episodes, not followed by nausea or loss of consciousness. Color of the blood is red color. Then quantity 20 ml, non-projectile, contained food particles associated with melena and no history of bleeding per rectum. Hmm. History of increased sleepiness during the daytime and the sleeplessness for the past 3 nights same then. Then history of weight loss and loss of fatigability is observed. No history of dysphagia, no history of confusion or altered sensorium, no history of fever. Ma'am, I go to past history.
Yeah, but before going to the past history, you want to summarize the salient points in the present history.
Ma'am, the points maybe an abdominal distension. That's, and the swelling in the lower limbs where there is no puffiness of face and reduced urine output. Therefore, we can rule out the CVS, the cardiovascular involvement. So it can either be abdominal.
But why, even in the cardiovascular system, the patient can develop congestive cardiac failure, no?
Yeah, that's why, ma'am. Uh, uh, but there are no other signs of the congestive cardiac failure, no, like
Yes.
orthopnea or PND is not present in this patient. So,
Definitely on PND to that much, no? Abdominal distension, the patient will be having grade 2 dyspnea.
no.
Dyspnea. So that is not there. Yes. And you have mentioned that the vomiting out of blood is red in color. Is it possible when the patient is going to vomit out blood from the upper GI, will it be altered or it will be red?
Ma'am?
The color of the blood in the vomitus, that is hematemesis, is red. Is it possible to have a red color system, or if the formation of acid hematine, it will be brownish in color, and also it is mixed with the particles. So in such color of the blood will be altered. It won't be red. It will be brownish tint.
Okay, ma'am. I'll change.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah. So again, you have mentioned about increased sleepiness. That is reversal of the sleep pattern. The patient sleeps in
Uh,
the sleeping in the night. The patient sleeps in the day and doesn't sleep at the night. So, on sleep pattern, this is important for history of earliest feature of your hepatic encephalopathy.
Yes, ma'am.
And yes, so the positive complaints are for everyone to know. Shall we summarize it towards the end of the history?
Yes, ma'am. I have summarized at the end of the history, ma'am. So,
Yeah, we will just catch up the main points towards the end. Yes, now you proceed.
uh, yes, ma'am. The past history episode of jaundice 2 years back, for which he took native treatment. No history of TB, diabetes mellitus, hypertension, or bronchial asthma. No history of a previous blood transfusion or tattooing. No history of recent travel. No history of previous abdominal surgeries. No history of vaccination for hepatitis. Yes. Treatment history currently not on any medications. Family history no history of similar complaints in the family. In personal history, the patient is a mixed diet consumer, has disturbed sleep at night and increased sleepiness during the day. Bowel and bladder movements are normal. History of consumption of alcohol for the past 25 years, that is 180 ml of whiskey daily. No history of smoking. No history of IV drug abuse. Marriage, happily married and monogamous with family. She's a wife.
Okay, what about the, see, now we know very well that you are presenting a case of the patient presented with abdominal distension, swelling of the feet associated with yellowish discoloration of the eyes, that is jaundice, with alteration in sleep pattern. With
Yes, yes,
hematopoiesis,
ma'am.
positive complaints. So in this case, and also so the patient has a history of taking whiskey, alcohol per day, every day, is it? So for how
Yes,
many years? The past 25 years. So you must know
yes, ma'am.
yeah, that is known that alcohol damages the liver. It causes liver damage and causes the chronic liver disease and decompensated liver disease cirrhosis. So what is the content of alcohol in this particular whiskey? How much amount of alcohol is there in grams? What is the
Excuse, ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
now, what is the quantity of the alcohol in 30 ml of whatever it is, they say, 1 unit? What is the quantity of the alcohol? Lethal dose. What is the lethal dose otherwise?
Ma'am, it's more than 80 grams per day, ma'am.
180 grams per day. So quantity will be, I think, in 60 ml. I don't remember. It will be 10 gram, no? In 30 ml, I just don't remember. I think you know
Ayan.
this much the patient like how much will be consumed in grams. So that you should know. For 180 ml of this whiskey, how much will be the alcohol content? So you just see that whether it is 30 ml having 10 grams or 60 ml 10 grams, I don't remember. And lethal dose, as definitely the 80 grams per day. Yes, continue.
Ma'am, next summary, ma'am. 59-year-old male patient with chronic alcohol consumption for the past 25 years and past history of jaundice that was treated with native medications, presented with the chief complaints of abdominal distension for 3 months, swelling of the lower limbs for 2 months, yellowish discoloration of the eyes for 7 days, and hematemesis with melena for the 2 days, along with altered sleep pattern. The probable system involved is hepatobiliary system.
Okay, probable system involved is hepatobiliary system. We want to examine the hepatobiliary system. Yes. So from the history and presentation, will you say it is a compensated liver disease or decompensated liver disease?
Ma'am, it's decompensated liver disease, ma'am, due to the chronic history of.
It's not mainly due to the chronic history. Decompensated because the patient has presented with features of liver is not able to maintain its function. He is presenting with jaundice. He is presenting with fluid retention, that is ascites. He is presenting with features of hepatic encephalopathy. So these are the features that is saying that the patient is having a decompensated liver disease. Also, he is presenting with possibly hematopoiesis. The hematopoiesis could be due to what?
Ma'am, the yeah,
Esophageal varices, ma'am, because of portal hypertension.
Esophageal varices. In this case, we are only talking about this case. Could possibly be esophageal varices. developing as a result of portal hypertension from the cirrhosis due to decompensated liver disease. Yes. It's a complicated liver disease patient will not present with this will not present with that. So once the liver is not able to function, then it is the decompensation. You have all the features of this. Yes. The examination point. So if it is a short case, only thing you have to present from the general examination. If it is a long, you have to from these things. History, I have not the history wise. Even you can ask the history about fever with jaundice because this patient has
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. There was no history of fever, ma'am. I forgot to add that.
so if the jaundice, yes, the fever with jaundice again indicates the patient has having hepatitis, and also
Uh,
it's a
in,
yeah,
yes.
drug intake, the drugs can cause jaundice. What are the drugs that can cause jaundice?
Ma'am, it can like isoniazid or rifampicin.
Yes, commonly our anti-tuberculous drugs, isoniazid, rifampicin. They can cause jaundice. Yes, oral contraceptive. There are a lot of drugs which can cause jaundice, but most commonly this. Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, the screen is not visible, ma'am. Is it visible?
Your screen is not visible.
Wait, ma'am. I'll then start screen sharing again. I guess some problems there in the network.
Okay, but if you can start going on the doing the general examination. If everyone wants to see the screen, fine. Yes,
Now is the screen visible, ma'am?
yes, visible.
Yes. Okay. Ma'am. I'll go start the general examination. Ma'am.
Yes, Akash, you are audible.
Uh, yes, ma'am. General examination. The patient was conscious, irritable, oriented to person and not to time and place, emaciated and malnourished, pallor and icterus present, pitting type of edema present on both the lower limbs, no cyanosis, clubbing, or generalized lymphadenopathy. Head to foot examination, no alopecia, icterus and pallor present, no signs of vitamin A deficiency, no glossitis or angular stomatitis, gynecomastia and spider nevi present, palmar erythema is present, dilated veins are seen in the abdomen, no testicular atrophy, bilateral pitting edema on the lower limbs is seen. Vitals, temperature of 98.3 degree Fahrenheit, pulse rate 92 beats per minute, regular rhythm, normal character and volume, no delays, BP 110 bar 66 mm mercury, respiratory rate of 15 breaths per minute, thoraco-abdominal, then JVP not elevated.
This patient is a
Uh,
male or female.
Male patient, ma'am.
The male patient, the breathing will be, what will be the type of breathing? Abdominal thoracic. The male patient, I mean children, the breathing will be abdominal thoracic, not thoraco-abdominal. So
Oh,
now summarize the
I,
examination oral
I
cavity.
forgot.
Complete the oral cavity, then we will come back to the general examination. Positive points, yes.
No. The oral cavity, the lips appear normal with no evidence of cracks, fissures, or scars. Tongue appears normal. Teeth with multiple caries. No ulcer or patches on the palate or mucosa.
So as such, there is a poor oral hygiene with caries.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So the patient, what are all the positive findings on the general examination? General examination, you must remember while presenting a case of abdomen, in addition to the regular features, you need to present the features, look for the features of liver cell failure from head to foot. So that you are
Yes,
mentioning.
ma'am.
And you also said about the patient's consciousness is not oriented to time and place. That means he is not oriented. That this also early stages of hepatic encephalopathy, and he has jaundice, and he is emaciated due to any chronic disease, chronic renal failure.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Can you hear now?
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
So any chronic illness can cause stunting, like it can cause malnourishment. So when you go back to your general examination, I am just picking up the points.
Yes, ma'am.
The positive points, what he has told is again the patient has failure and icterus. Failure, how do you find failure? By examining which conjunctiva. Again,
Ma'am, by the lower palpable conjunctiva, ma'am. While the patient is asked to look
failure. Then for the icterus, you have to examine the
upper bulbar conjunctiva, when the patient is asked to look down, or we can examine the palm crease or tongue can also be examined.
yeah. So that is always in the daylight, not in any artificial light to observe the icterus. And also you have to look in the eyes. So when you are doing the head to foot examination, you can see like the patient again will be malnourished. So the eye, the patient can have a bite spots. Again, the patient can have a subconjunctival hemorrhage in the eyes due to the liver failure. The patient may not be able to produce the clotting factors in liver. He can present with features of liver failure. As a result of that, the clotting will be bad. What are the clotting factors produced in the
Ma'am? What, ma'am?
coagulation factors produced in the liver?
I couldn't get the question, ma'am.
What are all the clotting factors produced in the liver?
Ma'am,
2, 7, 9, 10, ma'am.
2, 7, 9, 10. So mostly prothrombin time, we estimate the prothrombin time for the liver function. So you need to also look for the subconjunctival hemorrhages. And again, head to foot, sometimes the patient have a malnourished phases. That means the patient is wasting of the fossa and all those things are possible. And again, what you can have thoracic swelling. Again, in alcoholic cases, you can have a thoracic swelling. In the case of abdomen, as such you can present, but it is not there. And lymphadenopathy, of course, you can look for lymphadenopathy. Why you are looking for lymphadenopathy? Also can present with jaundice. So most commonly you have tuberculosis. Also other infections like infectious mononucleosis.
well,
Yes. So lymphadenopathy. And then markers of tuberculosis also, if you want to say, you can say. What are the markers of tuberculosis?
ma'am.
Erythema nodosum flictans.
Flictular conjunctivitis, erythema nodosum, tinea versicolor, and biliary tuberculosis on examination of the fundus. Yes. All this tuberculosis. Sometimes tuberculosis, you can have a cold abscess. You can have a fistula in the lung, cholesterol abscess. And what are all the features of liver cell failure? We spoke about all the malnutrition and the liver not able to produce the clotting factors. So you have uh, hemorrhage. Right? Where you look for the bite spots?
Ma'am, the
The vitamin A deficiency.
On
Bite
the
spots.
on the bulbar conjunctiva, ma'am.
Yeah.
Lateral.
Yeah, yes, you are right. Earliest there will be dryness, conjunctival cirrhosis, lateral part of the bulbar conjunctiva. You see the triangular, silvery foamy raised spots. They are the bypass. Remember it very well. Look for it in your this thing. You Google and look for the white spots. Yes. Then again, your universal
ma'am,
sound.
your voice is breaking, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking, ma'am.
My this thing is on now. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the features of liver cell failure are gynecomastia, loss of secondary sexual characters in the male, loss of axillary hair, pubic hair, testicular testicular atrophy, then gynecomastia in the male and atrophy of the breast in the female. And again, what else they will have? They will have palmar erythema, Dupuytren's contracture, and
Spider nevi can be seen in the
spider nevi. What is spider nevi? Where it can be seen? Spider nevi
ma'am,
is nothing but a central arteriole with radiating vessels around it. Where it is seen? It is seen
mostly in the region of superior vena cava, ma'am.
superior vena cava. You mean in the chest? So it is seen in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
chest. Yes. And again, how much is there any significance with the number of spider nevi? That is really a question.
Yes, ma'am. It's more than 5 means it's mainly due to pathological, ma'am.
Yes.
Which,
What is it due to all this palmar erythema and all this gynecomastia? Why all this occur? Loss of sexual character.
Due to increased estrogen,
ma'am,
ma'am.
Increased estrogen. Failure of the liver to convert some estrogen precursor to this. So, estrogen specification. Yes. And again, is there anything else? Flapping tremor. What about flapping tremor? What is the breath in hepatic encephalopathy? The odor of the breath is known as hepatic.
Fetal hepatic.
ma'am, it's
Yeah. Fetal hepaticus.
Uh,
How will you describe it? It is due to
Ammonia, ma'am.
it is due to the methyl mercaptan. Yes, methyl mercaptan produced from the precursors due to the derivatives, and it is like a corpus synapse. I think it has some fruity odor. And again, we said about a flapping tremor. You see in liver, that is as flapping tremor. The patient, you have to ask the patient to extend the arms, the whole arm extended. Then there will be, it will be like movement. Dorsiflexion too, it will come to like how you flap, how the bird flaps its wings. So they will start doing that. So yeah. Where else you can have the flapping tremor? Is it only in the liver failure or in any other conditions can you have it?
Respiratory failure, ma'am.
Type 2 respiratory failure, liver failure, then also can occur in
Wilson, ma'am.
uh,
Wilson. Wilson
Wilson.
disease.
Yes, one thing is the features of Wilson's, because what is the age of this patient?
and this patient is aged about 58 years, ma'am.
58, okay. If you are examining a younger patient, you have to look for inherited disorders like Wilson's. In that case, you have to look for cave ring in the eyes. But will the cave ring will be visible with the normal examination or better with the, it is better with the slit lamp examination. So the occurring this membrane cornea. It is having a greenish golden brown hue. That is the yes. We have flapping tremor. Yes. And is there anything else we have left in the examination? Pedal edema I have told. How long you have to do pressure for eliciting a pedal edema?
Ma'am, 30 seconds, ma'am.
15 to 30 seconds. You give a sustained pressure, then the pitting will appear. Yes. And what is the cause for the edema? Why the edema appears? First, it will
Ma'am,
appear in
edema
the
due to portal hypertension is associated with liver cirrhosis, ma'am.
yes, but what is the reason for edema? I am asking the reason for edema. You are right. Cirrhosis causing total hypertension, liver is not functioning. So, what are all the hypotheses for this edema?
Ma'am, it can either be due to renal failure, like nephrotic syndrome can also be.
Yeah, you can have other causes also, renal failure. Yes, salt and water retention, activation of the angiotensin, aldosterone system, and salt and water retention, as well as in case of liver failure, decreased production of albumin in the liver. So decreased oncotic pressure and with the
Pressure.
color.
Oh, yeah, that's uh, decreased oncotic pressure can also.
Yeah, decreased oncotic pressure and increased hydrostatic pressure, that is also causing the edema. What else? Sometimes it can be due to vascular permeability, altered vascular permeability, increased. In your causes with any irritation, like due to infection, due to malignancy, to any irritation, no, even in a trauma, like you can have a edema, altered vascular permeability. That is the external irritation, all this infection, malignancy, all this causes your inflammation and altered vascular permeability and causes edema. Yes. Start appearing in your serosal cavities. Like most commonly, you have ascites. Yes. So shall we go for system examination now?
Uh, yes, ma'am. The inspection of the abdomen uniformly distended, flanks are full, umbilicus displaced downwards and horizontally slit. All abdominal quadrants move equally with respiration. Skin appears stretched and shiny, no discoloration of the skin seen. Engorged veins present on the abdomen and anterior side. No visible pulsations or peristalsis. External genitalia appears normal. Hernial orifice appears normal. Presacral edema is not present. No.
Yes, yes.
Palpation.
Wait, wait.
Uh,
So now we are in the inspection. Inspection, you said it is a uniform distension of the abdomen. So there are how many quadrants in the abdomen?
ma'am, 10 quadrants, ma'am, including the.
Yes, yes, including the genitals. How will you divide the quadrants? Can you name the quadrants?
Uh,
Two vertical
yes, ma'am.
lines.
Ma'am, right hypochondrium, epigastrium, left hypochondrium, then right lumbar region, umbilical region, and left lumbar region, right iliac region, hypogastrium, and the left iliac region.
Yes. So the two vertical lines are mid-clavicular lines. Two horizontal lines are your the one is a transpyloric plane L1, and other one is the intertubercular plane. So these are the dividing lines for this, and uniformly it is distended. Normally the flanks are not full. So the flanks are full means it indicates there could be possible fluid can be there, ascites, yes. How do you say it is displaced backwards? What is, how will you measure the distance, whether it is in the mid position between the zippy sternum to umbilicus, umbilicus to the pubic
Umbilicus.
symphysis, spino-umbilical, umbilicus to the pubic symphysis. So normally it has to be in the center in between these two spots. When it is displaced downward means the pathology is from the upper abdomen. And normal position of inverted. So it is transversely slit means it indicates again it can be due to the presence of more fluid in the abdomen, ascites. That is horizontal. And all the quadrants are moving equally with respiration. Skin, you have to look for any scar marks, any striae. So why you look for the scar marks and striae? Due to
Because
change
of
of
stretching of sudden stretching of abdomen.
yeah.
Because of the sudden stretching of abdomen, there would be stretch marks and striae.
Yeah, striae pause. And again, you have in pregnancy also you have a striae gravidarum. Sometimes in Cushing's also you have the striae. These are all the other conditions with striae. And he has mentioned about the engorged veins, good, on the anterior side. Maybe in while look for the flow, he is mentioning about it. Skin pulsations, not skin in the epigastric pulsations. And why do this
Ma'am,
liver pulsations?
ma'am, not. I couldn't get the question, ma'am. Not audible.
In thin individuals, you can see the epigastric pulsations. It is a normal thing, but not in a obese individual or with a patient with ascites. And I mentioned, where do you get the liver pulsations? Can you get the pulsation of liver? Where? You can get it in tricuspid revulsion. You can get the systolic pulsations of the liver. Yes. Tricuspid pulsations more common. Systolic pulsations of the liver. Yes. He has mentioned about everything, including the back. Yes, good. Continue palpation.
On a superficial palpation, abdomen was not warm or tender, no abdominal rigidity. The flow of blood on the engorged vein is away from the umbilicus, both above and below. On deep palpation, no palpable mass or swell.
Yes. How will you look for the flow of the blood flow in the veins, dilated veins? Which position the patient has to?
Ma'am, patient will lie in the supine position, ma'am.
No, no, not at all. The patient has to. This is a common mistake you do because always we examine the patient lying down in a supine position. But seeing the blood flow, the patient has to either sit in the erect posture or he has to stand. Then only you have to look for the blood flow. Otherwise, the flow won't be obvious. So you need the patient to stand or sit in the erect posture. How will you look? How will you look? You keep fingers on the
Ma'am?
finger. Look for the flow from below upwards. Then if it is from below upwards, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's audible, ma'am.
Yeah, so you have to keep like it is like milking method. You make the patients to stand or erect sitting. You just put two fingers over the engorged vein. And first you remove the lower finger quickly. First you empty it. Keep the two fingers and empty the vein and remove the lower finger. So if it is filling quickly, that means the flow is from below upwards. Then again and remove the upper fingers. If this is going to fill quickly in this direction, this means the flow is from above downwards. So now the portal of the end of the umbilicus. That's what he
Above
said.
downwards.
Away from the umbilicus, both above and below. It goes above as well as below in both the directions. But how will be the flow if it is a case of IVC?
Ma'am, it's from below upwards, ma'am.
In IVC obstruction, in SVC obstruction, it is again from above downwards. Yes. Yeah. Continue again on deep palpation.
No palpable masses were felt on deep palpation, ma'am.
Other than this, you have to actually mention because you are putting as masses. Maybe your proforma is giving like that. Your abdomen has both organs, liver and spleen, which are very well palpable by the methods of palpation. So you are not only looking for a lump, you are looking for the palpable liver, palpable spleen. So in that case, you have to say liver and spleen are not palpable. So how will you palpate the liver? How will you palpate the spleen? Have you mentioned about it?
Ma'am, to palpate the liver, the patient is lying in the supine position with the knees flexed. Uh,
Yeah. Yes.
and next, with using the by placing the right hand on the right iliac fossa parallel to the costal margins, we palpate the liver, ma'am.
Yeah, you are bringing from the right iliac fossa. Normally, some textbooks they give, you are bringing the hand from the left iliac fossa and then gradually you are palpating the left kidney, looking for the left side spleen, then coming to the liver. But normally you start from the right iliac fossa, keeping your hand, the palmar aspect has to be in close contact with the abdominal wall. There should not be any gap, and the fingers has to be straight. That can be the copper syringe. Then now you are keeping the parallel to the right subcostal margin, slowly bringing it above from the right iliac fossa. So when you are slowly bringing it above, normally when you come closer to the right subcostal margin, the lower border of the liver can hit your, what is that? I think this will be the radial border. When you are keeping it like that, radial border of the finger, index. This is for palpating the liver. For palpating the spleen, and when you palpate the
Ma'am,
liver, if the liver is palpable, you have to ask the patient to take a deep inspiration. If the liver is palpable, you have to see whether it is, is it tender or not tender, what is the consistency, is it of warm or hard, is there any perfectly smooth or altered. Sometimes in cirrhosis it can be altered, in malignancy there can be nodules. So all this you have to see for the palpating the liver. Are you able to get above the swelling? Normally, in case of the liver and spleen, we are able to get above because they are beneath the diaphragm. So in the below the diaphragm in the fossa, so we are not able to get above the liver or get above the spleen. And also the organ is the respiration. These are all the points for the liver. And in case of yours, and also where you suppose if it is hepatomegaly, congestive cardiac disease, it has a very much structured liver. Also, it is tender. And if it is cirrhosis, then the liver may not be tender. Sometimes it can be firm to hard. If it is due to malignancy, the liver is hard, and then again the surface can be altered, irregular surface due to the nodules, the deposit. And in case of how will you examine the spleen? We
Ma'am,
start with the right iliac fossa. How is the enlargement of the spleen? Spleen enlarges towards the right iliac fossa. Is it? It has to enlarge palpable. So, what are all the methods of palpation of spleen? How will you know it is spleen?
ma'am, it's Castell's method and Nixel's.
Nixon's method, yes. Castell's method,
Ma'am,
again. Yes, Akash, anyone else can say that?
ma'am, for
Yes.
Castell's method, ma'am,
Yeah.
the
The spleen lies which behind which ribs? 9, 10, and 11 ribs. Is it? What do you do
yes,
there?
ma'am.
You focus, is it? Again, in your this thing, it is given in your percussion. Okay, we'll come to the percussion and we'll see the methods. Also, you can examine the spleen, start from the right to the fossa, and then you can gently, with the same way, you can not keeping the hand horizontal, you can gently keep your hand with all the fingers in close contact with abdominal wall towards the left iliac fossa. If the spleen is palpable, you will feel the spleen coming out with your fingers. And with the spleen also there is a notch in the lower anterior border. With the spleen you will be able to feel the notch in the lower anterior border. Then you have to look for the consistency, the tenderness, the surface. Yes. And you won't be able to about the spleen also. And spleen also moves with respiration since it is attached to the diaphragm. Yes. Now we can go for again here. So palpation. What else you can anything else based on the palpation? No other lump palpable. No hepatosplenomegaly. Yes, we come to percussion now. About the liver
Ma'am,
dullness. Percussion now.
percussion, ma'am. The upper border of liver dullness is percussed at the right fifth intercostal space along the mid-clavicular line, while
Yes.
the lower border is not palpable.
Yes. What is a normal liver span? When you say the liver is enlarged.
Normally, the liver from 12 to
15
15
centimeters
centimeters, ma'am,
liver span. Yes.
with extending from the fifth
Right. Right.
fifth rib,
The costal margin. And to the lower border of the dullness, you measure the span. Normally it is 12 to 15 centimeters. If it is more, Then the liver is enlarged. Yes. And what about the spleen?
Yes.
Where anywhere the liver dullness can be obliterated, reduced, any conditions? It can be in a right pneumothorax and in emphysema. The liver dullness can be reduced. Yes. Then
Oh,
yes. Am I audible?
yes, ma'am. Now you are audible, ma'am.
Yeah. So the liver dullness is reduced in emphysematous chest as well as in the right-sided pneumothorax. That is that we look for. Then now we are in the percussion of the spleen.
Spleen, yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes.
And the spleen, by the Castell's method, the dullness is observed at the ninth intercostal space of the anterior axillary line. By Nixon's method, the spleen extends 10 centimeter above the left costal margin.
Spleen extends 10 centimeter above the left costal margin. Okay, I'm not sure about this. Okay, the Castell's method, you are right. There is dullness in this space. Next, maybe we have to check again. Yes. Extends 10 centimeter
Next,
above costal margin. Yes.
next shifting dullness is present.
Here, what about the liver dullness? You are not able to get the lower border of the liver dullness. Is it?
Yeah,
The
yes,
spleen
ma'am. No.
palpable. Is it palpable here, the spleen?
Spleen, yeah, it's palpable.
Spleen is palpable. In your
I
patient.
actually did.
Hmm?
We didn't examine the patient, ma'am. I got the case sheet. That's why.
Okay, but what he has mentioned.
This is what mentioned, ma'am. That's it.
Okay, you have not mentioned about the this thing. Whether the spleen is palpable or not palpable. About the liver dullness, you have mentioned about the liver, but clinically you have not. In your palpation, you mentioned that no mass is like nothing is palpable. It implies that there is no organomegaly, but again you are confirming with your percussion whether the liver and spleen are enlarged. So as per your picture, the liver is not enlarged, and but here the spleen is enlarged. That's what your Castell's method says. Nixon's method also says the spleen is enlarged. Yes. Yes.
Uh, shall I proceed, ma'am?
Yeah.
And the shifting dullness is present. And drop space is dull to percussion. Fluid thrill is not appreciated.
Yes.
On auscultation, bowel sound present. No venomous hum or brood.
The shifting dullness is present. Shifting dullness, how will you elicit the shifting dullness? Can you say fluid thrill is not
Uh,
appreciated? Yes. And drop space,
yes, ma'am.
you know what is drop space? How will you know? What are all the boundaries? Where will you focus for the drop space?
Ma'am, first I'll do shifting dullness. Next go to drop space, ma'am.
Shifting dullness, yes.
Ma'am, for shifting dullness, ma'am, you should vertically use the percus on the like zippy
From
sternum to
the
the
towards the flanks at the level of umbilicus, keeping your hand vertically, yes. Normally, the umbilical area will be with the patient lying supine.
uh,
Normally, the umbilical area will be resonant. Is it
yes, ma'am.
towards the flanks? If it is dull, that indicates normally it will be dull. Then you are asking the patient to turn to the
Huh? The any of the side, the opposite side, ma'am.
opposite side. Okay, fine. Then you wait
Side.
for few seconds.
Sure.
Then you percuss. Then in this dull area will become what? Resonant. That means
Yes.
that indicates presence of fluid. So that is shifting dullness. So how much amount of fluid you need for the shifting dullness to be present?
Ma'am, above 50.
You need at least 1 liter of the fluid. For a USG abdomen system to detect through the ultrasonogram, you need some 50 ml of fluid to detect through the ultrasound ascites. So for 15 diagnostic sessions, you need at least 1 liter of the fluid. Yes.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
More than 1.5 liters. Yes. So drop space. Want to say about the drop space?
Ma'am, the
Why
drop
the drop
space
space
is,
has been used?
ma'am,
Why here there is dullness of the drop space? Is it due to fluid or due to the enlargement of the spleen?
ma'am, the splenic enlargement will be there, ma'am.
Yeah. So now you say about how will you locate the drop space? What are the boundaries where you will focus?
Ma'am, the drop space on the lower borders of the left lung, the anterior border of the spleen,
Hmm.
and the
Lower border of lung resonance, you are saying left costal margin. So you are not saying the surface marking. Can anyone say the surface marking of the
ma'am,
drop space?
surface marking with the left sixth rib superiorly,
Yes. Costal
and
confirmation, yes.
then left mid axillary line anteriorly, and the left costal margin inferiorly, ma'am.
Which rib? Sixth rib near the costal margin and ninth rib near the axilla. What are the, you make two semilunar lines to connect these 2 points. Then you purpose this space. That is the drop space. Yes, it is dull here. It is due to enlargement of the spleen. What other conditions can make the drop space? Normally, it is tympanitic because it contains the fundus of the stomach. What are the other conditions where the drop space can be dull?
Ma'am,
Drop space.
Pleural effusion, ma'am.
Pleural effusion, left-sided pleural effusion. Yes. Growth in the stomach, roof of the stomach. The patient has eaten, then in a full stomach, that also an enlarged left lobe of the liver, CA head of the pancreas, splenic enlargement, left-sided fluid effusion. All these things can obliterate your drop space because they are on the contents. Yes. Then about the fluid thrill, how will you elicit the fluid?
ma'am, for fluid thrill, ma'am, the patient is asked to lie in the supine position with
Yes.
one hand placed on the contralateral flank, and
Hmm.
with the other hand you should flick on the near side.
When you keep a finger, you need other person to keep the hand in the midline. Why?
The- to prevent any skin transmitted thrills, ma'am.
Yes, through the cutaneous from the periphery. Yes, through the cutaneous
Yes,
tract.
ma'am.
Yes. So then you do the thrill flickering on one side. It will be transmitted to the other side. That is about the fluid. Yes. Now you have the shifting dullness. You have the palpable. The spleen percussion is done. Then what about the auscultation?
Ma'am,
Auscultation.
auscultation, the bowel sounds are present, ma'am, with no venomous hum or bruit.
No venous hum bruit. Where you will get a venous hum? In the abdomen, over the abdomen.
Ma'am, it may be due to the collaterals, ma'am, present
Yes,
which is venom, the a result of portal hypertension, the collateral form it cause venous hum.
venous hum. Okay. Is it a continuous sound or interrupted sound? There is one syndrome called this is Creutzfeldt-Baumgartner syndrome, where you hear a
Yes,
venous
yes,
hum.
ma'am.
That is the collateral. I think the umbilical vein is the patent umbilical vein in that. Then it is a continuous sound, is it? The venous hum is a continuous sound.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you hear it in the children or the pregnancy, is it normal or abnormal? Over the
Ma'am,
neck. If you hear it over the veins in the neck in pregnancy or in children, most commonly in children, is it normal or abnormal?
ma'am, it's
Ma'am, in
don't know. That's all.
pregnancy it is normal, ma'am. Your train's too full.
It's normal. Also, you can hear it in anemia. Yes. So just read about what is venous sum and how do you know where you get the venous sum in this patient. Yes. What is bruise? Or can you also you have to look for the splenic rub and hepatic rub. You can get in a perisplenitis and perihepatitis. You can get a splenic rub and hepatic rub. Bruise, where do you get bruise? Where do you look for the bruise here? You look for the bruise
Ma'am,
over the
aorta, ma'am.
okay. Over the aorta, yes.
And
Ma'am, in liver, ma'am. In liver, it can be due to malignancy.
Liver due to malignancy, hemangiomas over the aorta, aortic aneurysm possible. Yes, stenosis.
then,
Then
hepatitis, ma'am. Actually, alcoholic hepatitis can be here.
not really alcoholic hepatitis. Yes. So whenever you say a finding, then you must know where it is there. So bruit is actually a sound which is heard over the occluded large vessels. You hear a bruit. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Arterial stenosis, aortic stenosis, and in your aneurysm as well as renal artery stenosis, you hear the bruit. Then examination of the other systems, patient has not very
Ma'am, yes, your voice is breaking, ma'am. No, again.
no examination of the other systems. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you, ma'am.
So examination of the other systems.
Uh, I'll start the CNS. The patient was conscious, irritable, oriented to person and not to time and place. No
Hmm.
focal neurological deficits seen. No involuntary movements observed. And
Hmm.
respiratory system, normal vesicular breath sounds heard. No added sound. Then CVS, apical impulse felt at the left fifth intercostal space in the midclavicular line. S1 and S2 heard, and no murmurs are heard.
Okay. So
Next,
what about yeah? So is your examination over?
yes, ma'am.
So summarize now.
Uh, I- Again, summary.
No, your what is your this thing diagnosis? Your,
Yeah, diagnosis. That's means decompensated liver disease, probably with cirrhosis of the liver, with the features of portal hypertension and hepatic encephalopathy.
okay, diagnosis is decompensated liver disease, probably cirrhosis with features of portal hypertension and hepatic encephalopathy due to chronic alcohol. So again, we have discussed why it is decompensated liver disease. What are all the features of portal hypertension for you to say here?
Ma'am?
What are all the features of portal hypertension? You have mentioned portal hypertension.
Yes, ma'am.
What are all the
We
features
have so aside the patient.
of portal hypertension?
Hematemesis, no?
One thing history-wise hematemesis was there. Also here he said about engorged
Dis-
veins. Did he mention about the engorged veins with the flow away from the umbilicus?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is there. So what else? The features from his presentation. Hepatic encephalopathy obviously there. He has mentioned it twice. So these are all the only features of portal hypertension as well as the patient has a splenomegaly. Is it? It is not palpable, but in the process
Yeah.
you get a dullness over the Nixon's methods. You have a dullness, and also the spleen is extended by the Castell's method. So the splenomegaly with engorged collaterals and history of hematemesis, all these say the patient has portal hypertension. Yes. And any finding, suppose you will get the patient has a very no, if he has a ascites, is there any possibility that he can have a pleural effusion on the right side?
Yes, ma'am. He can have, ma'am. Through minor defects in
Right
diaphragm.
sided patient.
Hydrothorax, yes. And why do you want to examine the CVS in this patient?
Ma'am, to any rule out the right heart failure or in case of.
Okay, again the cardiac causes for cirrhosis. The cardiac illness itself can cause cirrhosis in congestive pericarditis. Their conditions, so you are looking for the CVS.
Yes, ma'am.
So now these are all the things. So how do you say what are all the stages of hepatic encephalopathy?
Ma'am,
Stages of hepatic encephalopathy. How many stages? He is in which stage? He is in the early stage, stage 1. Stage 2 will be, stage 3 he will be drowsing again, the stage 4 he will be comatose. So moderate, very much more confusion will be there in stage 2. Yes. So he is in the early stage of hepatic encephalopathy. There will be also constrictional apraxia. If you can look for it, you can look for that. Yes. Is management
yes,
investigation
ma'am.
to confirm your diagnosis. For that only you are doing the investigations.
Investigations.
Yes. So what are all the investigations for this patient you will do? Routinely you will do a blood count. What you can do in the blood count? Complete blood count in this
Ma'am,
patient.
ma'am, we see for if the blood loss is more means you can see the PCV will be reduced and the increased ESR can be seen, ma'am.
Okay, there is decrease in hemoglobin, anemia.
And also the due to portal hypertension, there can also be thrombocytopenia, ma'am.
Good. So there can be thrombocytopenia, increase, hypersplenism, thrombocytopenia is possible. And what about your viral markers? You look for
Any viral hepatitis, ma'am, it can cause
what
hepatitis
hepatitis
B.
you look for. Commonly you look for
HBS AG, ma'am.
SBSAG. Okay. Then ascitic tap. Before the ascitic tap, okay, you will do. What will you do with the ascitic fluid analysis?
Ma'am, we go for first evaluate the SAG ratio, ma'am.
What is SAG? Yes.
Serum fluid albumin
Ma'am,
gradient.
it's
Ascitic fluid albumin gradient. So normally, if it is more means it is a transudate. If it is less means it is an exudate. So here it will be a transudate or exudate. More than
ma'am, it will
1.1.
be more than 1.1.
Okay. So ultrasonogram, you look for the, so what else you will do with, you will look for only the SAG, anything else?
Ma'am, we will go for cytology, ma'am, in case of any malignancy is present. Ma'am.
Yes, cytology, cell count, and
Then
then
we go for neutrophil count, ma'am,
hmm,
to
or it
rule
can
out spontaneous bacterial peritonitis.
peritonitis, yes. So cell count, cytology, then will you do for a go for microbiology, gram stain and AFB, and also you can send it for culture sensitivity and the biochemistry. Again, how much proteins are there that you can look for. Yes, apart from
Oh,
SAG.
okay, ma'am.
Now you go for the ultrasound abdomen. What will you see in the ultrasound abdomen?
Ma'am, first we should assess all the normal organs if is present. Any,
What will you look for pa, in the ultrasound abdomen?
Amount of
to,
fluid.
uh,
You need then the altered echoes of the liver. If the spleen is enlarged, know how much it is enlarged, you can see clearly in the this thing. And how the architecture is it altered, coarse. So all these things, the liver architecture and spleen, the enlargement signs, and about the portal vein, whether it is dilated. What is the normal measurement of the fetal vein? More than 17 centimeter, it is enlarged. So all these things you look for in the ultrasound abdomen. Also free fluid, as you said, amount of the fluid. So any you look for a minimal fluid. Any maneuver you do to look for the minimal free fluid.
Ma'am, your
Puddles in,
your voice is breaking again, ma'am.
Clinically, for any no, for a minimal fluid, is there any maneuver?
puddle sign, ma'am.
Puddle sign. So what is puddle sign?
The patient has to lie on the knees and the elbows, and then
Yes.
percussion is done.
Around the umbilicus.
Umbilicus.
Only it will be resonant. Here it will be due to the dependent question. The fluid will come and collect. It will be dull. So this is for how much fluid you need for the puddle sign.
500 ml at least.
Yeah. Yes. Now he is saying about the LFT and RFT. So LFT, RFT. What do you mean? You look at the enzymes, the bilirubin, total bilirubin, direct and indirect, the liver enzyme. Suppose if it is alcoholic hepatitis, which will be reduced? Which enzyme will be very much reduced?
Ma'am, GGT, ma'am.
EGT. Alanine aminotransferase. No, the SGPT will be very much reduced in alcoholic liver disease. So the ratio of OT to PT will be more than 2. Yes. And then RFT, yes, as routine you look for RFT. What is hepato? So complications we have not discussed. Complications we have to discuss again. What are all the possible complications? Anything else you have missed in the investigation? You know that
Ma'am, I could.
things you want to do as a diagnostic test in the investigation. You missed two important tests because you said the patient has having variceal bleed, hematemesis. So what you will do?
Endoscopy.
ma'am.
So GSKP, yes, that you have missed, that you have to do. That's why you have to remember the case and write the investigations. UGScopy, then also you can, because the liver is cirrhosis liver, so you can do carefully. You can also you have to look for the prothrombin time because the liver is failure. No, liver failure is there to see whether the prothrombin time is prolonged. Then albumin, whether there is any hypoalbuminemia. The total proteins, you have to see the albumin globulin ratio, hypoalbuminemia, and then prolonged prothrombin time. Again, with when all these parameters are normal, prothrombin time is normal, you can also go for a liver biopsy to see how is the architecture of the liver. So, what type of architecture like you have in a what type of cirrhosis? Pathologically in a alcoholic cirrhosis. Is it macronodular or micronodular?
Ma'am, it will initially micronodular, ma'am.
Micronodular. Okay. So now we come to the treatment. What are the possible for this patient?
Ma'am,
What are the possible complications? Already he has developed hematemesis, so that is the first complication. Then also he is having hepatic encephalopathy. He has gone into complications. Yes.
and we can also have hepatorenal syndrome.
Hepatorenal syndrome. The renal parenchyma and everything will be normal, but you have a increased creatinine. Hepatorenal. There are two types of hepatorenal syndrome. 1 and 2, which is having a good prognosis. Okay, then
Type 2, ma'am. Type 2, ma'am. Type 2.
type 2. So you have to
Good.
read about hepato. What is type 1? Type 2. What is the treatment?
Liver transplant, ma'am.
Huh?
Liver transplant.
Liver transplant. It is finally we are not talking about hepatorenal syndrome.
No, we can give terlipressin, nicardipine.
Bleeding. Okay, now we will come to again hepatopulmonary syndrome. The patient can develop, and then the bleeding. More common we come across is the bleeding from the varices. If he has, like, they are liable to, with a massive bleed, they can again some die. And long-term complication of cirrhosis, we can develop a hepatocellular carcinoma. That you have to keep in mind. Yes, now in the treatment. So what are all the treatment parts? Hematemesis.
For hematemesis, we go for first supportive care with IV fluids and blood transfusion, ma'am. Next, for medical treatment, we go for octreotide or terlipressin.
Yes.
And also to prevent recurrences, we go varicose ligation, banding, or sclerotherapy, ma'am.
Okay, emergency thing, you can do a balloon tamponade. That now they are doing banding and sclerotherapy. I think they are doing very well. More than this, earlier days they used to do the staples balloon tamponade. Used to keep one balloon in the esophagus and one balloon in the stomach. But now more commonly they do this. They variceal band and sclerotherapy. Yes. For hepatic
Yes, ma'am.
encephalopathy, what are all the precipitating for hepatic encephalopathy?
Ma'am, for infection, ma'am.
Infection, recurrent bleed, UG bleed, use of sedatives, use
High
of
protein diet.
high protein diet,
Constipation, ma'am.
yes, increased nitrogen load is. Only bowel wash you will do for hepatic encephalopathy, or will you use any antibiotics like neomycin?
Ma'am?
Only bowel wash, lactulose do, or will you use any sterilized bowel sterilizing antibiotics to decrease the ammonia absorption? You will use neomycin.
Ma'am, we will use neomycin also, ma'am.
Yes. And avoid
Next,
avoid frequent tap of the ascitic fluid. There may be infections also. Avoid using diuretics and hypnotics. So they will salt restriction and diuretics. Is it?
ma'am?
For ascites, you will not tap the ascitic fluid.
Yeah, we will tap the acidic fluid, ma'am. That's what
That you have not mentioned yet.
I
And
didn't. I thought investigations enough.
what about the shunt? Will you recommend any shunt or will you not recommend?
Ma'am, no need to
Hmm?
shunting. Uh,
You need to go for shunting.
yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Why? What are the shunt you know, and what are all the possible complications?
Ma'am, tips, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yeah, what is this?
Transjugular intrahepatic photosystemic shunt.
Intrahepatic photosystemic shunting. So the patient can have hepatic encephalopathy as a complication for this. Yes. Yes.
ma'am, mm, next we go for
Yes, pa.
the liver transplant, ma'am. Finally,
Liver transplant. So how will you assess the patient is eligible for a liver transplant? How will you do it? Any idea?
um, yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, ma'am, for
Yes, Akash.
Uh, one thing, some problem with network.
Okay.
Uh,
Any other possible differential diagnosis you want to do? Discuss with this case? What is portal hypertension? How much amount of pressure is needed to say more than how much it has to be elevated to say it is portal hypertension? What is the minus pressure?
more than 10 mm.
7 to 10 mm is normal. More than 10 mm, then it is portal hypertension. So why the collaterals develop?
Ma'am, mm,
Yes. What are the type of collaterals?
Ma'am, it develops to relieve the pressure within the portal circulation. Ma'am.
Yes, yes. So what are all the sites of collaterals in your this thing? He has mentioned
ma'am,
only about the
yeah,
yeah.
The gastric end of
we
esophagus,
can see near
base.
the
Yes.
ma'am, we can see near the rectum, ma'am, the rectal.
Lower, yeah, lower, like, yes, between the superior, middle, and inferior hemorrhoidal veins. Yes. Hemorrhoids.
Ma'am, next,
Where
uh,
area of the blood?
in
Where
case of
area of the liver reach peritoneal surfaces. Then, most important, you forget. Around
Umbilicus.
around
Periumbilical, ma'am.
caput medusae.
umbilical
Yes.
capillary.
Captain Medusae, and always you remember you need to ask for the history of melena also. So how much amount of blood is needed to produce melena?
60 ml, ma'am.
60 ml of blood is needed and it has to stay in the bowel for at least 8 hours. And once it appears, it will not disappear for a week. So this you must know. What is melena?
Black starry
Black
sticky
starch
stools.
stools, ma'am.
Blood stools, yes. So what are all the causes for portal hypertension? Here you said this patient has developed cirrhosis due to the chronic alcohol intake, decompensated liver disease, and cirrhosis due to chronic alcohol intake. So what are all the causes for portal hypertension? Again, you can divide it into,
Ma'am, okay.
Pre-hepatic, hepatic, and post-hepatic.
yes, pre-hepatic, same a few examples.
Uh,
Yes,
Obstruction of the
Ma'am,
yes,
splenic vein thrombosis, ma'am.
okay. Hemolytic causes, someone umbilical vein, sepsis, all these conditions will cause pre-hepatic, yes.
Mm.
Hepatic,
cirrhosis, ma'am.
cirrhosis,
Bacchial syndrome.
sinusoidal, sinusoidal, post-sinusoidal. Pre-sinusoidal,
primary biliary cirrhosis.
Mm.
biliary cirrhosis, schistosomiasis, and sinusoidal, all your cirrhosis will come. Post-sinusoidal. What about post-hepatic?
Budd-Chiari syndrome.
Mm.
Chiari syndrome. Okay. What is primary biliary cirrhosis? Where you will have this Wilson's disease, hemochromatosis, all these conditions. Inherited conditions. It will come
Mm.
under hepatic cycle. Yes. Yes, Pa.
Yes, ma'am.
So any other, like now we discussed about the causes of the portal hypertension. What about the differential diagnosis? Patient is having a splenomegaly, a patient having a hepatosplenomegaly with ascites, and only the adenomegaly. Any other differential diagnosis? So, want to be more common in our country, it can be due to disseminated tuberculosis. Both organs can be palpable and also ascites can be there due to disseminated TB. That is one possibility. Yes.
Mm. And
Leptospirosis, ma'am.
Leptospirosis. Yes. But not leptospirosis. Anemia.
ma'am, and primary biliary cirrhosis, ma'am.
Yes.
From secondaries to liver, ma'am. Metastasis from other tumors.
Secondaries in the liver. Possible. Liver is enlarged. You have to look for a primary. In the enlarged node, also, in case of GE malignancy, you have to look for the enlarged nodes. Enlarged nodes like supracortical or vitreous nodes. Infective causes
Ma'am,
only have malignancy, someone. What about storage disorders?
ma'am, hemochromatosis.
Malignancies. Hmm?
The, I couldn't get the question, ma'am. Can you come in?
Oh, hepatosplenomegaly, you have mentioned the causes, infective causes. You have said some
Yes, ma'am.
secondaries. Yes. What about the storage disorders? What about your malignancies, other malignancies?
Ma'am, Gaucher disease.
Lymphomas. Again, your lymphomas,
Yes.
non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Hodgkin's. Gauchers, you are saying about the storage disorders, yes. Gauchers and glycogen storage disorders, yes. And also more commonly here, massive splenomegaly, you will get it in chronic myeloid leukemia and myelofibrosis.
Yes, ma'am.
So all these conditions you will have a splenomegaly. Massive splenomegaly with hepatomegaly, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So how will you treat the patient with hepatic encephalopathy? That you have already mentioned in your treatment.
Yes, ma'am. The ball wash, ma'am, with lactulose.
Bowel wash, bowel sterilization, yes, avoiding all these factors, yes. Is there any antidote like flumazenil you will use? Benzodiazepine antidote also you can use.
And rifamycin and neomycin can also use, ma'am.
Yes, neomycin, rifamycin, yes. So, and then again, this patient, any patient, even if he comes in early stage, also abstinence from alcohol. What is the possible cause? He has to abstain from alcohol. Yes. Yes. For anything else?
Ma'am, that's all. That's what I know or need.
Okay, the others can answer. I think the presenter will be exhausted. The others can come forward now. Yes, presenter
Yes.
powers.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, can contribute or others can also say, because in the exam all of you are going to present. Not only the presenter who is presenting. So all of you have to really, it looks very easy when someone is presenting, but when you present only the flow and what will have is important. Yes. Anything else for Akash?
Ma'am, that's all, ma'am.
Okay. So others want to add on anything, or do you have any doubts?
Ma'am, for ascites,
Yes.
can we just give spironolactone alone, or do we need to add furosemide, ma'am?
Only we use both furosemide and spironolactone.
Okay.
We give both furosemide 40 mg, spironolactone 100 mg. We
I
give
didn't get you, ma'am.
both furosemide and spironolactone, 40 milligram of furosemide and 100 milligram of spironolactone. We give in combination.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, how to differentiate grade 2 and grade 3 of hepatic encephalopathy?
See, grade 1, the patient will be having the altered sleep pattern and he will not be oriented to mild, no, mild. There will be confusion, but this is earliest. No, grade confusion. And EEG changes will be there in grade 2. Grade 1, it won't be there. The
Okay,
dental
ma'am.
grade 2. Grade 3, again, the patient is only arousable. There will be marked confusion and he is stuporous in grade 3. Grade 4, he will be comatose.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So, yes, I think it's always abdomen is like it. The examination point also, it looks as if it is very simple, but when you elaborate, it will be again, you need to look at how to liver and eliciting the free fluid in the abdominal cavity. All these things you have to really put some attention because if you don't have managers like a respiratory system or a CVS. Somehow abdomen looks and some, but you have to again practice what you have to do. Validation, eliciting the you have to do with I think someone is not muted. Background noise. All
Ma'am,
this for and practice methodical presentation. That will really help you when you do it thoroughly. So maybe you can you will continue presenting abdomen cases this week, is it? Yes.
uh, yes, ma'am.
So you practice, someone else can present, and all of you should come forward to answer because it is not only the presenter I am asking every one of you. He is representing you and he is presenting. So each one must come forward and share and contribute. Yes. So I think with this we'll complete the class. You just go through the presentation of how to present a case of decompensated liver disease. What are all the findings you will look for, and what will be the history. Yes. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.